I'm ChosenArchitect, and this is my modded adventure. Last episode, we ended up getting into a little bit of the Forbidden Arcanist mod, and well, this leads us into today, and hopefully we can make some unbreakable tools and equipment. That is going to be the ultimate goal today. Now, getting there is going to require quite the adventure because we need to find this new item, new block called stellarite that is going to be found underground. And we also need to find some of that XP ore, as that is going to be required to move forward. So how exactly do we find this, and what is the best way to do that? Now, one of the easiest ways might be to just look for it in the cave walls. And if we use some night vision, this makes this a little bit easier. So right here, we immediately find some of the XP ore. That is perfect. That's exactly what we need. So let's go ahead and move over to our break scale. Make sure that we have a projectile and silk touch. Let's go ahead and silk touch this and make sure it goes in our inventory. So this could be one of the easiest methods, at least to find this, but stellarite is not so easily found. It is really hard to see. Look at me speak that way. And it's right here. So as you see, it's not the easiest thing to sort of spot. And if you didn't have night vision, you would probably not see it at all. But you're going to find it prevalently in the caves, if I use that word correctly. So can I silk touch this at a normal level? Not exactly. Can I amplify, then silk touch, and then collect it? So this will be like for like netherite level, right? Let's go ahead and make sure that's reactivated. Can I pick it up this way? Oh, okay. So if I even try to silk touch it, notice it blows up, and I don't know if I picked it up. I did pick it up, but it does still explode. So that is something we need to keep in mind. So we need to gather this ore, and we also need to gather this ore. Now that we have this ore, we can use it to potentially find more of these ores. That's kind of a nice thing, right? And we can go about it the same way that we've gone about all of the other things. And we can use the scry crystal or scry ritual in order to find more of these. Or we could potentially figure out what Y level this is spawning in the first place. And we could build a quarry. I don't know. A quarry sounds pretty darn cool if we can get that to work. And we have an amazing mod for that. So let's go ahead and determine that Y level. Yes, let's use the scry, and we'll use that on the Stella. Even though it is going to consume it, this is still, I think, going to be ultimately the best way of figuring out the actual Y level, so we can figure out where to place a quarry. And what quarry exactly am I going to go with? Well, how does the RF Tools builder sound? I've not used that thing in a while, and I bet that would be such a cool tool to use for this specific application. And I hope it can actually break and collect these blocks. We'll do a test first just to make sure, because that could be a problem. But it does look like this stuff spawns at a reasonable height here. So it actually doesn't look like it spawns in these lower levels. So it is still, looks like it's still in the upper levels here. Roughly what level? So if we take a look here, we can see it's like between Y level 12 or so, like Y level 16 maybe, positive 16 that is, and it also looks like down to Y level 0. So maybe this is still utilizing the same method of origin from like older, like pre what was it, 120 that added the or 116 that added the lower depths. I think it was 118, right? This is so hard to keep up with all these versions. But yes, as soon as we find it, this will explode. But now we've already found another one. It looks like there's two of them over here. So this is definitely a great method of finding this stuff. But I want to sort of automate-ish this process. And that's where I think that is going to come into play. Now, to really be able to utilize an RF Tools builder, we're going to need at least like 3,000 RF per tick. We can limit the amount of RF that we give the builder. But we first need to kind of see if this even works in the first place. So what I'm going to do is, for right now, before upgrading our power system, to be able to support this, which I think our power system is more than capable of supporting this right now. If we only give it the limit, which would be limited by the actual gates that we're going to have, we can go ahead and use that to at least test. And I want to figure this out. Do I want silk touch or do I want not silk touch? That's really something that matters when it comes to the builder. Now, the builder itself is not all that bad to craft. It's actually quite simple, but to be able to utilize it and actually get the builder to work, which, by the way, we, as you see, there is a quest line for this, a little bit of a quest line underneath the, it should be under tech, I think. Not under tech. No, it's under the resource generation. That's right. So as soon as we make a shape card, we'll also get a builder card and a couple of things to be able to activate this, which is kind of nice. But yes, a shape card. That's kind of what we need. Wait, isn't this a builder? No, it is a quarry, but can also build for you as well. And I've used it. I've used it in a lot of applications to build. It is a great tool for both of those. It was better back in 1.12 when you had a way to sort of manipulate things and almost had like a 3D editor to build projects in, but it's still good in this version as well. So let's take a look. Let me see. I want to, with the RF tools, I'm going to need a shape card. Now I get to kind of pick and choose, but the basic shape card is going to require some diamonds. And let's see, we just want a regular shape card and it's going to cost some bricks too. Perfect. And paper, which we should have plenty of sugarcane. If you've seen in the background, there's been tons of sugarcane growing in the background. So shape card, that should be more than enough. Yes, that's perfect. We're not using any enchanted items. Nice. Now what this will do is this will break the blocks and it'll fill it in with dirt. If that's something you don't want to do and you want to fill it in with something else, like, I don't know, completely clearing it, you can upgrade it to a clearing quarry. So you do that. You surround it with glass, which I personally enjoy. But there's also some other ones. There's some clearing silk quarry. There's also a fortune clearing quarry that we should be able to find, right? Let's see. Fortune. There's a fortune silk. I don't actually see a, fortune clearing quarry. So we need a fortune card in the first place. So to be able to make a fortune quarry, which I don't know if it affects the stellarite, but a fortune quarry would look like this. And then there's the silk version. The silk touch card, what does it look like? So it requires a nether star in order to silk, which that would be the best thing to do. But we don't have a nether star right now, but we could go farm one. You know what? I think before we dive too deep into this whole thing, let's go ahead and just leave it a regular shaped quarry card. And let's just go ahead and test and make sure it works. So we are going to need a gate. So let's go ahead and grab a gate. And our quest line should give us all the things needed to get this started. So yeah, we just basically need a lever, and we're also going to need an inventory to store this in. So let's just get a chest for now, and we're going to upgrade to a better chest later. This is just to basically test this regular card out and just make sure that it can even break the stellarite. It may leave it. I don't know, considering how tough it is. But let's go ahead and put this to the test. So I did go ahead and make a caves scroll. And so now we should be able to make it right into the cave area. Oh, wait, that's to home. Why did it take me home? Wait, what? No. Did I rename the wrong card? No. Oh boy. Well, so much for the cave version. I thought I had set my scroll to that location, but apparently not. Well, it looks like we're gonna have to go back and find that area. Oh, thankfully I still have some of that time left on here. So yeah, this leads me right to where I need to be. So here's some areas to test, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and mine out a little bit of this, as long as I got things leaving me alone. So I should be able to mine back down here. Let's see, was this actually an area that I had? No, it wasn't. Okay, and I also want to stay back just a little bit because this can blow up. But let's go ahead and place our builder, and we'll place it right here. Uh-oh, looks like we may have some spawners over here that I need to take care of. Yep, perfect. The spawner's broken. All things are good now. Okay, so I placed down the builder, and then I'm going to need to give it some power. And so I'll just go ahead and give it some power right here. It's not a lot, but it is going to build up over time. Give it an inventory on top of it and a lever on the front. Now to go ahead and set the bounds of our card, we shift right click onto the builder, and then we need to select our first position. So our first position can be this block right here, and then our last position can be this block right here. Now, with those areas selected, we can open up the card and we can see where our stuff is set. But if we go ahead and place it into the builder, we should be able to display where this is actually going to mine. And perfect. We see the area that it's going to mine by clicking the support view. Now, as soon as I enable this, it should mine those blocks, and you see that it fills the area. And it looks like it does completely mine it. So if we could get this to silk touch it, that'd be pretty cool. But I still don't know if fortune actually affects these blocks. So we have another one over here, and I do have my fortune pick. It is going to hurt me to do this, but let's go ahead and mine right here, and let's test. I mean, I know just doing one block is not a great test of this, but let's step back, and then I'm going to mine this block, and we'll see. Is it going to fortune? Are we going to get more than one out of this? It doesn't really appear to, but the stellarite pieces are what these turn into. And this is perfect. So now we know roughly what the Y level is between Y level 16. And we also know that it is between what looks like Y level 16 and Y level 0. And so we definitely want to mine in that range. So let's go ahead and build a chest. We can pick up the quarry and we can move it wherever, by the way. So let's go ahead and get a chest set up that is going to be quite large. And this is where the other mod, sophisticated storage, is going to come into play, because it is super good, by the way, super good at handling quarries. Now, starting with a sophisticated storage, we've already made one of these in the past, but all you got to do is take a regular storage and add a torch to it, and you get the sophisticated version. And then we just surround it with iron. And then to upgrade this one, we can also dye all of these, by the way. That's another little cool thing. But we can just keep upgrading these all the way to netherite. And we should be able to use netherite to upgrade this. So we're at diamond. Let's go ahead and get a netherite. And I love that this was changed. But we should be able to just craft with it. So instead of using like a smithing table and its odd recipes that are the thing now, we can just craft with it. And I really like that. So bam, we just now have a netherite barrel. And this means we have tons of slots. So many slots in here to hold things. And this is where things get kind of ridiculous. You can hold hundreds of thousands of blocks in a single storage slot inside of this barrel. Yes, ultimately creating a black hole. That's what you would think anyways. And that's because these storage upgrades are just amazing. So if we make a few of these upgrade bases, let's just make 16 for right now, and we start to use some of the materials that we've been gathering, right? Just the base multiplies the number of stacks that can fit by 2. So if we take 1 times 2, which by default it only holds 1 stack, so times it by 2, just with one of these upgrades it's going to store 2. Now if we go up to the next one and we just put a single tier 2 inside of there, it's going to multiply the number of stacks by 4. So 1 times 4 it's going to hold 4 stacks. Now it gets kind of ridiculous when, for example, you have, let's say you already have one of the 2 upgrades in here, and you put another 2 upgrade in there. Well, since having the first one in there is going to multiply it by 2, it's going to now equal 2. If you add another upgrade in there, now that 2 is going to be times 2 for the other upgrade. So now you have 4 times worth of storage. But it gets kind of crazy whenever you go all the way up to 16. And then what happens when you put another 16 upgrade in there? Well, now you have 16 times 16, and it continues to go on and go on. It's just multiplicative. It's so you can just have tons and tons of stacks with only a few upgrades in it. So this is going to be the fun part. Let's just do the math here. So yes, basically how this is going to work is we take 16, right? So 16 times 16, going to the next one, then times 16 again, going to the next one, and then times 16, and that will equal a astounding 65,536 stacks per slot with just these single upgrades here. And now this last upgrade, I kind of want a void. It's not necessary, but a void upgrade is going to be very handy. Basically the same kind that we put in our bag. It works exactly the same. We'll make an advanced version, and then this void upgrade will allow us to assign things that we want to void. Let's just say we don't want a ton of stone going in here. We can pick and choose what we want to void. By default, set to allow list, which is a whitelist. Whatever we put in here is going to be avoided when something gets put into this barrel. So how do we carry this barrel around? Well, even if it's completely full, packing tape is how we're going to do that. So we can make some packing tape, and by default, it only has a durability of 4. But what if we made that infinite? And that's what we're working towards, right? Getting that stellarite, so that way we can make a thing from the Forbidden and Arcanus that basically allows this to be unbreakable. And if we take a look, we should be able to see that applying a stellarite to this does that. It does look like it needs a smithing template from this mod, which just requires a regular template. We've already obtained all that, so that's not too difficult. But just surrounded by dark stone, and yes, an eternal Stella is what we're ultimately trying to make, and it requires stellarite, but it also requires a tier 3 forge, and to get to that tier 3 forge, we need stellarite and many other things. So yeah, all in all, this is working. So let's go ahead and package this up, and then we can break it just like that, or pick it up with any of our other tools. And now it's time for the fun. It's time to get this builder going. And I think by default, just using the basic IO that we have will be fine for now, until we can go ahead and assign and start getting better power going, which will happen very, very soon. So now let's head back to our cave. I did get this working. There we go. So now that we're back in the cave, things are looking pretty good here. Let's go ahead and light things up. And let's figure out where we want to get this place. Now, I want to stay near this stuff. I do want to stay nearby because I think that's ultimately going to be the easiest way to handle all of this. So we have that there. I mean, I think we could set it up here and just assign this upper area. So let's go ahead and place this right here. And then just like before, this, by the way, stays in here, the shape card. We can go ahead and clear this out. So this will have nothing assigned to it. We can also, by default, void out all of these items if we don't want them. I think for my case, I kind of want them, so I'm going to leave them. But let's go ahead and assign this, and we can go ahead and select the first corner if we really wanted to, or we can just let this, we can go ahead and assign it ourselves. So if we select both of these corners, we know that this point is that. Well, let's say we want to mine out a 100 by 100 area. And we want this to be at a depth of 16 because we're going to mine from 0 to 16. And if we put that in there, when we look at this, it's going to take up the area that we currently have set. Now, what I want to do is raise this up because right now it's not where we want it to be. So to be able to raise this up, this is where we manipulate this section here, the offset. So I'm pretty sure with the offset currently in its position, that's fine. But we want to mess with the Y offset. So now it's fixed. By the way, this should be 0. We want to raise this up, and this is going to be from the position of the quarry itself. So let's just say we put this 16 blocks up. So if we put that 16 blocks up, now the bottom is here. So the bottom has changed. No longer are we inside of the cube, we're above it, or it's above us. Now, I want this to go up to up a little bit higher, and I want to be able to see exactly where this is located. So let's continue to take this. Make sure, by the way, to remove this preview. Well, I'm going to clear this every time because for some reason it still changes. I don't know why, but let's take this up to 23, and let's see where this actually resides now. So I can go ahead and look up. And it's pretty close. It is very close. I think it needs to go up a couple more because it looks like right now this is staying at like Y level -3. So let's bring this up like 3 more. All right, so I'll take that, clear this again, make sure to set it to 0 because it's such a weird bug. But we were at 23. Let's do 26. So that should be where I want it to mine. And so let's go ahead and leave that there. Let's maintain that. We'll go ahead and remove this. It's 26. That's where it needs to stay. Perfect. Hopefully it stays there. And then we'll put the barrel on top that can store a ton of stuff. And then we want to put the gate on here to make sure to give it power. And then I am going to need a lever to turn it on. That's pretty much it. I mean, and then just let this thing rip. We can also chunk load the area. So if we go to the chunk, we can chunk load. We just need to chunk load, I think, the chunk that it's in. I am at my max chunk limit, but we can expand on that if we need to. But for right now, let's go ahead and just turn it on. And we're going to notice it's starting to fill up, but it is going to run out of power very quickly. But you'll still see at how fast of a rate it works. And look, we already have stellarite pieces. So it is still mining at a pretty decent pace with only 500 RF per tick being given to it at its max. So, I mean, it's handling itself pretty well, I think. By the way, I almost forgot to mention, as a quest reward underneath the magic section for the Forbidden Arcanus, you do get a quantum catcher, which by default is crafted like so, which is not too hard to make. But this allows you to pick up mobs. So it can pick up villagers, it can pick up mobs. So if you didn't have a mob yoinker, you could definitely use this. And watch. Yoink, it is also a mob yoinker in its own right. So it's a pretty cool little thing. And I love the sounds it makes. Now, normally this is left up to server admins, but to increase your chunk claiming abilities, if that's something you're wanting to do, and in my case, I normally always do this, you can go into FTB chunks, and then you can go, I believe, under admin, and then extra force load chunks, and then choose your name, and then set it to the number that you want. So let's say I want 100 force loadable chunks. Now I have the ability to force load more chunks, and it's just as easy as that. And there you go. So I can now claim more of the area that I want. And I feel like claiming isn't really anything crazy, so definitely do that. That's why that whole mod is in here in the first place. Now, in the meantime, while I'm letting that run, I want to try and fill up all of these vials, because if I'm going to get this upgraded, well, I'm going to need quite a bit of blood. And this is the perfect place for it. Look at all these spawners in this cave. It's going to make that so easy because I can just take on all of these mobs with this dagger. It's perfect. So while I'm working on things, this guy pops up, and this guy is so amazing. Let me go ahead and pull him over here. Now, at first, this guy may not seem like a whole lot. Oh, by the way, a Crimson Moon just spawned. That's not good. But yes, this guy may not seem like an awful lot, but my goodness, the raw copper trades, you can take your raw goods and turn it into this material, like, and just completely upgrade it. So 2 raw gold will equal 3, 1 raw copper will equal 2, basically doubling. It's like the best way to do that early game. And if you have an amethyst farm, this is emeralds, like free emeralds early on, and also emeralds for bottles, and he'll just keep trading you. I don't know how many times it takes in order to stop the trade, but it also usually offers this. So you can take a book and it will upgrade it to a higher tier. So this will give us a lure 5. Like, this guy is amazing. Clay to 2-carat terracotta, and can also repair anvils. Like, yeah, I love this little fella. And maybe worth keeping. I don't know if I can take him above ground, if the little guy will stay always in the quantum. But I would love to keep him in the quantum realm here. And yeah, who knows? We might be able to use him later on. Oh, I just seen this. These are rats, by the way, that spawn during a Crimson Moon. And I think they actually are useful to take on. Yes, because they do drop some special drops. They drop this cheese. And does this have a use outside of normal cheese? Like, maybe not. I don't know if there's any special thing that this rat drops over other rats. The Crimson Moon is so scary, though, because not only do these rats replace normal rats when they spawn, oh man, which could be horrifying underground. Yes, they attack you. These are rats that actually actively attack you. But every other mob that could spawn in here will turn into a Nether variant, which is also horrifying. Now, I could be wrong, but it does seem like the Eternal Stella shows that it's made in this particular forge. And it says it's tier 3. So if that's the case, then does this progression of forges mean that when we take a look here, does it mean that the first forge ultimately was 1, then this is 2, and then this is 3? I think so, because this is the one that it shows, meaning that this is 4 and this is 5, which I don't even know if these have any uses, do they? I don't think they do, other than potentially storing more things. Maybe that's something that's planned in the future. So really, we just need to upgrade this one more time, and that should be as simple as adding this material and then the arcane crystal, 4 of those. And then we should be able to already make the stellar. That's going to be pretty fun. Okay, so let's go ahead and make sure that's clear so we can pick this up, and then we're going to need our pedestals, and we should be ready to craft. So let's go ahead and get all of these back in. And if we remember from last episode how to get this put together, we just need to place these on the pedestals. Place the 4 here. And then we will place the material needed to upgrade, which is this chiseled polished in here. And last but not least, we just activate it with a hammer. And there we go. I did go ahead and make an iron one. This has 10 uses that just knocked it down to 9. But yes, this should upgrade our forge and allow us to make the Stella. Now, while this is crafting, let's take a look at what's required for the Stella. So no experience, a little bit of blood, and actually not too much. So a diamond and 3 XP orb. So orbs, let's see, we have 3 laying around here. Wow, that was an explosion. But yes, this is the next tier. So we have 3 of these, and all it takes is 1 Stella and then a diamond. And that is all that's needed in order to make, ultimately, what is going to be an item used to make unbreakable things, or things unbreakable. I think that is definitely worth it. So item goes in the middle. Let's go ahead and place these on the side. And if we're not going to be needing these pedestals here, let's go ahead and remove them and put the other things back on there. The crystals, because we want that to be producing. And since this only requires 3 items, or 4 items, we should be fine, right? So yeah, it requires 4 items. So let's go ahead and put the stellarite over here. Diamond in the middle, and we should have everything. There's the 2 souls. We have 2 souls in here. It only takes 1 soul to make this. So let's hammer away. And is this going to make our Eternal Stella our first one? Because if so, that is amazing. I'm really enjoying this. Okay, come on, Stella. I need you. And this is going to be used on something special. I think I have an idea of something I want to use this for. But first, we need this to craft. Come on. There it goes. The particle effects, and voila. We have an Eternal Stella. This thing is going to be so useful. There's still one more thing left to do. It doesn't appear that I have the smithing template, but the place that we get the smithing template is not too hard to find. Just a quick trip through the Nether and we should be greeted with this. So let's go ahead and see. This is a bastion, and I don't know if this is the particular bastion we need, but there could be one inside of this chest. Not in that chest, it appears. This is pretty straightforward to get rid of these guys. Could it be? No, this is just nether wart. So unfortunately, this chest did not contain it. So let's get out of here before we die. Yeah, we can still, we're not 100% fully powerful. So, wow, this biome is super bright. But yes, I'm basically looking for these bastion-like structures, these square structures. It should be throughout this biome. Oh, there's one right there. Yeah, let's see what this one has to offer, because I know that we should be able to find this relatively easy. Aha! I think this is where you will normally find it. And it should be tucked in here. Let's get rid of these guys. Oh gosh. Oh, there we go. And there's the smithing template. That's exactly what I wanted. And that's a lot of gold. So I'm probably going to try my best to take as much of this as possible. Ooh, while also trying not to die. Goodness, why is my burgers not working? I need more help. So now with the smithing template acquired, we can make more of them. Oh, that is the nice part about this. And so let's go ahead and head back home. Very nice. And let's put this Eternal Stella to use. And one of the things we just experienced was near death, right? So I think there's something we can make that should hopefully last forever. Now that we have the Eternal Stella, that should hopefully extend our health significantly. So let's do this. I am super excited. I have the regeneration potions, and we are going to make ourselves a charm of regeneration, and we should be able to use this and make it unbreakable. Now, there is a way of technically making it unbreakable within Apotheosis itself, but it does take a lot of experience, and I feel like this is a much easier method of potentially doing this. So let's get our smithing table. Let's go ahead and make one real quick. And we can place this over here. And so together in this with our new smithing template, which is just a normal smithing template surrounded by darkstone, and then we take an Eternal Stella, we put the item here, we now should have an eternal charm of regeneration, meaning that this should no longer take durability while activated, meaning we can leave this on, and now we have permanent regeneration 2 on our charm, and it is now never going to take durability. And yes, you can make multiple charms, and there's way more things that you could also make unbreakable, including all the cyclic stuff. Oh, this is my favorite thing. But notice it did take a lot of infrastructure and gathering of items in order to set this up in the first place. So I love this mod, and I cannot wait to see what more this mod has to offer, because it's only gotten better, like I said, over the last few years. And it's such a pretty looking mod as well. Now to head back into our cave real quick, just to sort of check out one thing, let's go ahead and see how much is this mined. Look at that, we already have 3 more stellarite pieces. We have more of the arcane crystals, tons of materials, and this has just been running off of the base power. And look at that, 10,000. Like I said, this will store like 65,000 stacks of material. That is a lot of stacks that it can hold in one slot. So just completely mind-boggling numbers there. Now, just so you know, there are several other cool things that you can modify your tool with. You can even make tools that are just like normal pickaxes. Mine a 3x3, and there's multiple other things that you can do with this our Forbidden Arcanist mod. So guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Hopefully you learned something new, and hopefully this is pretty exciting. Hopefully you strive to get that Eternal Stella and maybe make multiple so you can make your tools last forever. And well, that'll only leave you with your creativity to figure out ways of using those tools. So guys, I thank you so very much for watching. And if you haven't clicked the subscribe button, now's the perfect time to do so, as we're getting very close to 600,000 subscribers. And also give this video a huge thumbs up. I really appreciate it. I'll see you guys, of course, in the next one. But before we end, it's now time to thank the amazing supporter of today's episode. And that huge thanks is going to go out to Matt. Thank you so much for your amazing support, by the way, over on the Discord, becoming a Discord premium member and supporting in one of the best ways possible. Much love, guys. I'll see you in the next one. And as always, thanks for watching. Bye.